We are the people. We want Israel. Stop the bombing now, 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 now.
11 months of genocide, we gather again today with a message for Starmer's government. Our determination to break the murderous connection between our government and Israel's genocide is only growing stronger.
Listen to what Netanyahu says when he says that his proudest moment is to prevent a Palestinian state from emerging, when he vows to expand the illegal colonial settlements at speed. Read their government coalition agreement, where it says all the land of historic Palestine, including the West Bank, is described as the exclusive right of the Jewish people. But for 76 years, Israel has failed. Israel has failed. It has failed. It has failed to eradicate us in 1948. We are here. It failed to destroy us in 1967. It failed to wipe us out in Lebanon in 1982. And despite the horrors of the genocide in Gaza, it has failed to erase us from Gaza. And it will not succeed. It will never succeed, because we will not let it succeed.
We know there is overwhelming evidence of the genocide happening in Gaza, and the government must suspend all arms sales to Israel from now.
In our thousands, in our millions! We are all Palestinians. Sisters and brothers, no matter how much they try to intimidate us, threaten us and bully us, we will continue to march. So tell me, will they silence us? Will they silence us? Keir Starmer, David Lammy, how much more do you need to see before you acknowledge publicly what you already know? That Israel is perpetuating a genocidal assault on the Palestinian people. For all your talk of compassion, your so-called progressive realism, your empty calls for a ceasefire and a two-state solution, for all the rhetoric, we all know that Israel is getting away with murder on an industrial scale. And in fact, you aid them, you provide logistical support, you provide spy planes, you arm them, you give them diplomatic cover. You are Israel, and Israel is you. This is not a Labour Party, it's another Tory party. Two sides of the same rusty coin.
Do not lose hope. Do not give up. They want us to believe that we are insignificant. They want us to believe that we are powerless. But that is so far from the truth. In each and every one of you is the power to move mountains. In each and every one of you is the power to change history. Believe in your power. Use your power. Organize. Take action. And we will see from the river to the sea.
History will remember that in the face of piles of massacred Palestinian bodies in the streets of Gaza, and in the face of testimony after testimony of Palestinians being tortured, raped, beheaded, and blown apart beyond recognition, our government failed. It did not use every tool at its disposal to stop the genocide. Instead, it suspended only 30 of the 350 armed Pakistan chose to silence those speaking out against this state-sanctioned complicity in the most live-streamed genocide of our time.
We have to have hope. The tide is turning. We can bully this government into changing its mind. If not changing its mind, we can bully this government into making change. We can shame them. We can change things. And it feels hopeless. And you can't live on hope alone. But my God, do we have to have it right now? If not for ourselves, but for the people of Palestine. Thank you.
You have forced the government to reinstate UNRWA funding, which had never been stopped. You have forced the government to end its opposition to the ICC arrest warrant of Netanyahu, the war criminal. Student occupations across the country have successfully held their universities to account and stood down the threats to stop them accessing their own education. We've seen local councils like Islington Council divesting millions from companies who have been complicit in the forced displacement of Palestinians from the West Bank. We've seen trade unionists in companies and organisations across the country forcing bosses to divest from companies complicit in genocide and apartheid. These would not have happened without you. Justice is not something that leaders can just give to us. It's something we have to organise for, it's something we have to fight for, and you are fundamental in making sure we win. But with a new Labour government in power, now is not the time to slow down. We need to ramp up that pressure, demand justice louder. We must build our movement bigger.
The Palestine liberation struggle continues to reveal to each and every one of us how connected our struggle for freedom truly is, by unmasking the charade of the systems we have been lulled into accepting. Today we gather not just to speak, but to act with the full force of history, with the strength of the freedom fighters who have preceded us, and with the fire of a people demanding justice. The struggle for Palestine is not an isolated struggle. It is the struggle of every oppressed people throughout time, from the Congo to the Caribbean, from Jamaica to Jerusalem. Aimé Césaire taught us that colonization dehumanizes both the colonizer and the colonized. Palestine today is a living testament to that truth. The colonizer clings to power, justifying violence and land theft, while the colonized are dispossessed, their very existence seen as inconvenience. But Césaire also reminded us that resistance is the answer. Say it with me. Resistance is the answer. That the thing to be done is to set man free. We take solace from the words of the late great Toni Morrison, who said, the function of freedom is to free someone else. You stand here today as free as it gets. This is as free as it gets, people. We have our own struggles, but make no mistake, this freedom that we have here is not the freedom to consume. It is not the freedom to be complacent. It is the freedom to liberate. Do not squander it. So today we stand united and we say to Palestine, freedom is coming. Say it with me. Freedom is coming. It's coming through boycotts. It's coming through divestment. And it's coming through sanctions. Say it with me. Boycotts, divest, sanctions. But this fight goes beyond the borders of Palestine, and never forget that. Marcus Garvey told us to never wait for others to give us our freedom. Freedom is always fought for. It is never handed to you. It is never handed to you. And as our very own freedoms are eroded, remember that it is now ours to reclaim. We've seen a limited arms embargo. It's the beginning. It's far from enough. Just as Patrice Lumumba declared that Africa will write its own history, Palestine will write its own history. Free from occupation, free from apartheid, and free from surveillance. From Ferguson to Gaza, from the streets of London to the refugee camps in the West Bank, we are all connected by one
struggle. It's time to consolidate the ranks, people. I'm being tapped out, but Lumumba, Césaire, Garvey, they knew that no change comes without courage. I call on you today to find your courage. Dig deep. Say it with me. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. Power to the people. Free Palestine. Thank you.